first heard about the Night Blooming Jazzmen, I thought they were like a joke band. They're a group of old recreational jazz musicians who found themselves retired from their regular jobs. So they said, you know, we think now in the twilight of our lives is finally the time to strike it rich by forming a jazz band. It's no joke. I mean, these guys are serious business. And they have the best names. You know, there's Chet, Clyde, Horace. You know, proper jazz names. Well, when I first met up with them, I made the mistake of telling them that my name was Tristan, and I mean mistake. Tristan, you can't use a name like that, son. Not in this band. I'll tell you what. We'll think of a new name for you, and we'll get back to you. How does that sound? Well, after my audition, Clyde and Horace told me that I'd gotten the gig, but from now on they were going to call me Stanley. And if I didn't like it, I could take my 22 years of living and go sit on a dick. Throughout life, we learn to survive life's struggles by watching and following those who have conquered them before us. It is essential to honor the memories of generations past because it is only in these critical moments of realization that we can truly understand and appreciate their insight. Author Kenneth Calhoun teaches us that though generations may separate us, ultimately, it is what we can learn from each other that brings us together. Night Blooming by Kenneth Calhoun. Our big gig is under this lonely elm tree in this old-ass old park. A couple of graffiti tags on this bandstand, nothing interesting. And our audience is a group of medium-sized old people sitting on some folding chairs. A couple of their grandkids running around them. Looks like we're about to start because Horace shuffles up and puffs into the microphone. Good afternoon, ladies and germs. Well, let's hit them, boys. And just like that, we are off. And, you know, we start by cooking up a carousel of sound with our hands. I mean, we're marching the Saints, right? We're balling the jack. You know, people are doing the Charleston, head dancing, standing up and throwing up jazz hands. You know, me and this gang of senior citizens just tearing the place down. I get to stir the soup with my brushes. You know, I mean, hell, I buzz the rolls. You know, I grab the crash. You know, all the stuff I never get to play. I mean, the stuff nobody plays anymore, right? And the stuff my dad taught me when I was a kid, that his dad taught him when he was a kid. And we close our set like we are landing a plane. A little bit bumpy at first, but suddenly, you know, it's like my hands are acting for themselves and we are rocking and rolling to a smooth jazz stop. Forgot that feeling. Well, the guys are all breathing heavy, you know, really heavy on account of the old age. And our audience stands and applauds. Briefly, before folding up a chair and picking it up in one arm, taking their grandchild in the other, and walking out. Can't win them all. I'm sitting in my car, waiting for Clyde to cut the checks. But from here, I can see a couple of the guys arguing about, you know, something. But me? I'm mellow. I mean, you gotta hand it to these guys, right? These jazz men, they can really play. I mean, there's nowhere to hide in jazz, right? No distortion or feathered edges of reverb. I mean, you gotta put it down precisely where you want. That's what these guys do, you know, dotted notes and all. Yeah, I gotta admit, I thought it was gonna be a drag. I thought it was gonna suck playing with a bunch of old dudes, but I don't know. Pretty sweet gig. Well, Horace is on his way over, so I finish up my roast and go out to greet him. Hey, Big H. Pretty rocking show, right? My God, kid. Man, you can really swing. How'd you learn to jam like that? My dad. And that's all I say. You know, thinking about his old drum kit, you know, Ludwig. I mean, man, he used to keep us up till 2 in the morning just banging on those skins, man. I took it to a pawn shop a couple years after he, well, he was a welder by profession, so health insurance was like a Rolls Royce. 2 things he'd never know. Well, Horace's hand is all shaky when he gives me my check. and he says, "Tell you what, Stanley, we met up with a few nice old ladies, and they've invited us over for a little mixer. Care to join us?" "Sure," I say, without really knowing what I'm accepting. And Horace reaches down and pulls a bottle out of his trombone case. "Do you like gin, Stanley?" "Oh, why, yes, I do." He tells me more about the band as we head over. "Well, you see, what happened was we used to be a real big band, a shit kicker, all Benny Goodman and shit. Folks started dying, though. Cancer, mostly. Heart attacks and strokes. They stayed in the world too long, I suppose. You know, Stanley, it is a crazy thing to say that you're going to stick with something until the day that you die. I mean, dedicate your whole life to it. Yeah, I think you choose 2 or 3 things you feel that way about, and life just organizes itself around that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, the women are already waiting for us when we get there. They're lined up, ready to introduce themselves. Nancy, Ethel, and Ruth are all sisters, and Betty is their friend from down the street. Nancy catches my eye immediately, for whatever reason, and I'm guessing I got hers too, because before I know it, I'm being yanked out into the backyard, where I see a tire swing, connected to a very long rope, connected to a very high, old, weak-looking branch, and Nancy immediately runs and leaps into the thing before I can fully comprehend how dangerous the whole contraption looks, and I can hear rope creaking and wood splintering, and I can just see tomorrow's headline now. Jazz musician watches old woman die, does nothing, but I'm sorry, Nancy. But she's good. I mean, here's this 80-year-old, teenager just dangling in the air in front of me, begging me to push her. So, what the hell, right? Why not? Now, start off slow, and she's old. I give her a little push. She starts kicking her feet up in the air and screaming, "Attaboy, now really put some back into it." So I do, give her a good push out over the yard. And she starts flying like she did when she was a kid, just free. And I start to think about my dad. He wasn't a religious guy, but he always said this one religious thing. And he said, "You know why people like beats? Because they tell you what's going to happen next." And it's true. I mean, once you know a measure or two of a beat, you know exactly what to expect. And the part that makes me think it all has a chance to work itself out, everything has a chance to work out, is that you never know when the beat's completed its full cycle, right? I mean, this means that everything in life that feels so random could be part of its own beat, like a party in an old person's house. And we just don't know it yet, right? And we haven't played our full measures. When Nancy comes down, she's got a smile the size of the sun spread across her lips. And she goes bounding back inside with more youthful exuberance in her skip than, I've ever even seen looking in the mirror. From outside I can see them. There's silhouettes jitterbugging in the window. From out here they look like a movie, just flashed on the wall. Why couldn't I met these people a long time ago? Played their music with them and drink their gin and just have known them. But these people didn't exist a long time ago. These people, they only exist right now. And unfortunately, not much into later. Well, maybe it's sad to say, but I think this is just about the best party that I've ever been to.